Hello, everybody, and welcome to Wingcat Sports. It's our Lions postgame, last one of the year, due to a disappointing loss by the Lions, ending up not even getting really a touchdown to the end of the game.
Dan Campbell.
But it really does come down to one play in the second half to how the team fell apart. But they lost 34-31, and it began with Dan Campbell not kicking that first field goal. And it just fell apart from there, from players dropping passes. It's not all on coaching, but it started with that one.
Well, I think you can narrow it down to the three things. Started, and I think this is a game of momentum. You had it. You had the game. You stopped them. Your defense stopped them again coming out in the second half and held them to a field goal. You were up 24-13. You came down. You were within field goal range. You have to kick that field goal and all you had to do was keep pace with them. But what you did was give them all the momentum in the world. They stopped you. They forced you, fourth down, you go for it, stopped you, got the ball back. And then that freak play changed everything. All the momentum went to them, all of it.
Yep.
And then on the next thing, when you could have come back down, maybe done something to stop the momentum by scoring, you fumble on your 25-yard line. So you basically gave them back your whole lead in the first half in the third quarter, the whole thing. And again, how many times this year, and I'm not going to bash them because it's been a great year. It's been a lot of fun watching the Lions. But a lot of times this year, you went out, played a great first half, and then scored nothing in the second half. And you did it again today. And it was the one thing I said you couldn't afford to do. You had to play 60 minutes of football today, and you played 30.
Yeah. I thought this was an absolute choke job. I really do. I did. Like he said, first half, you came out strong. You were up 24-7 at one point, and it looked like you were at least going to maintain your lead and win. It really did. I had high hopes. But then second half, Dan Campbell. Oh, I'm the gambler. Ooh, I'm Dan the gambler. F you, Dan Campbell. You cost your team 6 points, and you probably cost us the game. There's other factors that went into it, but the fact that you had a chance to go up 27 to what, 10?
27-13.
27-13. And you didn't do it.
And if you do that,
and a second time you had it.
Other things don't happen.
A second time you had a chance to kick a field goal and at least keep it within a touchdown, and you didn't do it. You should be embarrassed. You're a big part of the problem why they lost. And we could say, oh, you had a great season. Lions are better. We didn't expect this out of them. Well, maybe so. But you had a legit shot at going to the Super Bowl. And while you weren't the only problem, Josh Reynolds, I think you forgot how to catch a football.
And this did at the very end.
Yes, I mean, no points. You did that against the Rams.
Right.
You did that against the Rams. You scored all your points in the first half and then hung on for dear life in the second half, hoping you could just get a win out of it.
To win this game.
And you can't do that.
You needed to play 60 minutes of ball, and you did not do that.
We knew
30.
We knew
your
as soon
defense
as
probably played as well as it could play.
We knew as soon as Jahmyr Gibbs fumbled that ball, we looked at each other and it's like, yeah, here it comes. It's over. It's over.
But this is another reason, and I said this at the beginning of the year, same old Lions will not go away until you can actually progress in something. No matter what, there's going to be people next year that continue to say, there's going to be people.
Half was same old Lions.
There's going to be people today saying same old Lions just because you don't have continuous success. I will never understand
some of Dan Campbell's decisions. I won't.
The thing is, though, because of Dan Campbell's gambling, we went 12-5 this year. A lot of times his gambles paid off, and you got to live and die with them.
You don't.
My problem with this game, right? You don't do this.
This is different.
In the situations
you expect your coach to kind of understand that there are situations, but there's something about Dan Campbell. If he had, and I'm not saying it's a reason to fire him or get rid of him or anything bad, because he had a great year.
Play the game right.
He cannot kick a field goal. There's something in his personality, his ego, whatever it is. He can't just.
That was 6 points that you let off the board. 6.
And the thing is, it had more to do than just the points. You go up 27-13, all that other stuff doesn't happen. You don't get that play because
I think that was a momentum killer.
Right. You are totally still in control of the game, and the momentum is still with you at 27-13 because you're just holding them off in the second half. You just have to match them or come close.
Yeah.
All you had to do was not score 16 points less than they did. And you didn't do that. You gave up 20.
This has to go down to one of the most colossal chokes in playoff history.
Really,
the Chargers last year. Yeah, us.
It really is. You choked. It was a choke job.
Right. It was. Oh, definitely. All you had to do was not give up. Like I said, you had a 16-point cushion to win that game in the second half. And all you had to do was stay with them, but you couldn't do it. You couldn't sit there and kick that field goal, keep the momentum going with us, and kick that ball off because they're not going to start off where they started off. Maybe that play. Everything changes if you kick that field goal. Everything. Yeah, it's a free play.
It starts with that, and that's why I said everything else after that in the second half between Josh Reynolds dropping a couple balls, Jahmyr Gibbs fumbling it. Right, Jared Goff had a great game. He threw for 273 yards. Had a TD. He played well. Sure, not the best completion percentage because he was 25 for 41, but he played well. And your rushing did well. You ran for 182 yards. You just didn't show up in the second half of the game, and you were known to be a bad third quarter team.
I mean,
and you didn't decide to show up in the fourth quarter till the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, what was their second half plan? Was it like, hey, defense, the offense isn't going to score anymore, so we're just hoping you hang on for dear life.
How many?
And I think they've
done that in at least 4 or 5 games.
The defense somehow forgot how to tackle.
Right. I mean,
there was some absolutely horrible tackling. They could have had Purdy dead to rights tackle at least 4 times, and they didn't do it.
I felt the defense did about as well as it could have done. I think we all said 30 points was a benchmark. If we could hold them to 30 points or less, we'd win. And that was the case today. Yeah. We couldn't do it because freaking, I
would have almost
I'm not mad at them. I'm not mad at the Lions. Yeah. They had a great season, and like I said, his gambles paid off most of the time.
I would have almost wanted to get blown out than lose that way.
There's more heartbreak.
It's just really disheartening.
You had the Super Bowl within your head.
But the Lions,
whether people want to admit it or not, I mean, I'm not trying to get too far ahead. These chances don't come up very often.
No, it could be the last one I see in my lifetime.
Right. This is the closest we've ever gotten to seeing a Super Bowl.
Next year's schedule is not easy.
I didn't think we were going to beat the 49ers today.
Neither did I. I thought we were going to lose. Even though I predicted them to win,
But when we went up 24-7,
I'm like, you lost it.
Oh my God, we're going to see a Super Bowl.
It's the way you lost it. We were so dominant in the first half, and then all of a sudden you blow your diaper. And it was just that one stop on fourth down that seemed to unravel everything. It was that one stop where Reynolds dropped the pass.
And he could have kicked a field goal.
The next possession, they went down and they scored. Then Gibbs fumbled. And we were just like, oh, well.
Then you tried again. Then you tried again, and people just couldn't catch the ball. You just completely fell apart all around. And again, that's why I say the same old Lion rhetoric won't go away, because they pulled something that.
Oh, I don't think this is the same old Lions year. I think that they.
No, it's definitely not that kind of year, but it's not going to go away.
Extremely frustrating.
Next year, you will hear it all year
because
again.
It was there. It was there for us.
Just extremely frustrating.
It is frustrating in the sense that you can't. You knew what Dan Campbell was going to do, because his hatred of field goals, his total resolve to ever do it just.
I think they kicked one
nuts.
All he asked
one field
is that
goal.
You just play the game right.
And honestly, where he
what needs to be done in certain situations, and in those situations, you kick. You would have been down only by 4 points in the last on that last drive. They could have.
You probably wouldn't have been down. You probably would have been winning.
You never should have let him back in the game to begin with.
The thing is, you don't. That one decision turned all the momentum in the 49ers' favor.
It did.
All of it.
Because that's
so
where
it's not like you're only down. I tell you, if he would have kicked the field goal there, they might not have scored. the 49ers might have played it totally differently.
They probably would have. And the
And
funny
having
thing,
a freak play.
the funny thing
It's
is,
just frustrating.
the one field goal he did kick would have been the one I didn't think he would go for because it was a 21-yard field goal.
Right.
That'd be the
funny.
one that you would think
That
he
was
wouldn't
funny.
kick it and just go for the touchdown because he's on a 2.
Right.
He goes and kicks a field goal,
Right.
but the other 2 where you get the points, he decides, I'm just gonna try to go for it.
But,
and again, it's not all on
people
him.
may disagree. They may point out lots of different things. It's another, like I said, the offense, Ben Johnson's offense, totally dying in the second half, not putting up any points. I don't. The only real horrible thing you can say was when Jahmyr Gibbs fumbled, but I can't understand why we just totally
Collapsed.
went dry in the second half.
Then, like I said, it all came down to just the other collapse, and one play unraveled it all. But it was a good year. You can't be all that upset. Sure, we would love the Super
Next
Bowl.
year's going to be even tougher. Who's to
Yes,
say
it is.
they're going to get back here?
But we'll talk about that at a later time. With all that being said, if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe. Let us know what you think.
See you next year.
See everybody. See you.